What's happening? Hope everyone's okay. Big shout out to everyone who likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. Thank you. I was really overwhelmed with all the comments. Powerful, powerful, positive message of support. Nice one. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It really does. And without you, I wouldn't have a platform. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you very much. A few questions were asked about Joe and my approach, and I took that on board and I spoke to him this morning. He asked him a few questions about his club. Was there anyone new? And did it make him feel uncomfortable? And he said, no, everything's fine. He just doesn't want to go. He wants to do his own little thing and he seems fine. There was a few letters and gifts there this morning off well wishes. So he was over the moon, big smiles all around. He'd been for a little walk on his own, which, yeah, it's unusual because he doesn't go out on his own, but he'd been for a little walk on his own. He's now told me that he's joined a walking group off his own back. I think that's what he wants to do. You know, he wants to go and do his own thing and find his own path instead of probably having me turning up and saying, should we do this, should we go here? And I'm learning now to just take a little step back and allow him to spread his wings and grow and become that little bit more independent. And I think that's what's been happening over the past couple of years. You know, he held his hand in the early days, encouraged him, pushed him, was with him all the time. And I think he's just like, you know, he's grew up a little bit. He's developed a bit more confidence. Yeah, he still struggles. Yeah, he does. And I think he struggles with the fact that he knows that he's not really that codependent no more. That he's got his little bit of independence and he wants it. So, gutted really, because he's my little mate. And yeah, anyway, he's doing a lot better today from what I've seen. You know, I went to the gym this morning and I bumped into a guy there called Teen. If you're watching this, I want to say thank you for coming up to me and sharing what you said about the video that I put up the other day. It means a lot. It does. I don't realise I sit in front of these cameras and try and do a little blog and upload these videos, but I second guess everything I do. I question it. Shall I watch it back and did I say that right? And I could have said this differently. And it doesn't become as authentic. So off the cuff, I'm having a go. And yeah, it is difficult. It's awkward. There's no questions getting fired at me. You know, I haven't got any questions lined out as an itinerary of what I'm going to say. I'm just, no edits, here I am. This is me. This is Billy. What can I say? Right, so what can I talk about? I can talk about how we cope with life. You know, especially clean. You know, living clean and coping with life is difficult at the best of times. Getting clean was easy. Staying clean is the battle. It isn't today. It isn't anymore. But it used to be in the early days for me. And people, one of the questions asked, "What was it like for you?" And it was hard work. It was difficult. It was self-obsessed. I felt really, really low in myself. Everything was about the struggle. There was no, I was just struggling massively. So yeah, it was quite difficult. No confidence, no self-esteem, all that stuff that was going on. It affected me relationships with people. You know, I didn't believe I'd ever meet anyone and fall in love. And I always drifted in and out of toxic relationships with women that were usually older than me. And if you wanted me, you could have me, because I didn't think it was worthy. You know, I ended up with women who were always older and had kids who were a few years younger, and I'd be sitting in the front room watching cartoons with a pair of slippers on, thinking of landed with the childlike mindset, because that's what I was. I was a kid in a man's body and I wanted to be mothered. That's how it was for me, you know. And it always ended in tears. And I'd like be a wreck because I was quite codependent, very needy. Oh my God, I'd leave myself on bricks for you. It was very unattractive. You know, I would always seek out women who were unavailable or had the same mental health as myself. I might as well have stood outside of Stoddard's house and just waited for someone to get released and go on a date with them, because that's what I was like, I was attracted to. Crazy mixed up people like myself. And two sick people don't make a well person. That's the truth. So someone said to me, do relationships work in recovery? You know, if you're established in a relationship prior to coming into recovery and you're both on the same page, singing from the same hymn sheet, then it's possible. I've seen it happen and it does work. It's going to be hard. It is difficult. It's a journey. But if you love each other and you work together, then yeah, that's possible. It's not suggested, you know, but yeah, that's just my opinion. And that's what we've all got. We've all got opinions, and opinions are like assholes, aren't they? We've all got one. You know, when I first came around, I was hating on people. You know, I was resenting everyone. I was living in the past. I was living more in my mind than I was in the landscape. I was focusing on bitter, twisted resentments from years ago, and I'd plot up and I'd torture myself every night about what I was going to do to these people that had harmed me. You know, and like I said yesterday, it was like I was drinking the poison and hoping they'd die from it. You know, it's like voodoo dolls getting pins and sticking them in yourself, really. You know, it's just, you know, and I had to learn to kind of deal with that stuff because it kept me really ill. And I see that on these platforms. I see a lot of people who resent others, who envy others, who are jealous, who are really vulnerable, insecure young people in men's bodies. That's the truth. Or women's bodies. I'm not like just pointing out men. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who just hate on others because they hate themselves. That's the truth. So I don't know if any of you have ever said this when you were kids. I hate this house. I used to always say that. I hate this house. To me mum. And it was never nothing to do with the house. It was just me. I hated myself. You know, and I had to learn to like myself before I love myself. You know, and there's people out there who have built me up and supported me and reached out and extended that hand of friendship, shared their difficulties and identified with the similar stories as to my own, which has enabled me to continue moving forward in my recovery, because, you know, you're not on your own. You know, it doesn't mean just because you're a man, you can't share your vulnerabilities with another man. You know, it doesn't mean that at all. If you've got something going on, you know, I years ago, I used to like, you know, when I first come around, and I was quite vulnerable and raw, because that's what it was like. It was very raw for me. You know, and I see the likes of Danny Christie. He's a lovely fella, very humble, very helpful, very supportive. Love his channel. Nice one, Dan. He's in recovery. He's a newcomer, but he's doing good things with his life, and he hasn't always had it easy. You know, he's had a tough upbringing and things were quite difficult. And I've spoke to him on a personal level. And he's a good friend of mine. You know, and a big shout out, Dan. Love you, mate. Love what you're doing. Stay strong in your recovery. Paul Venice. Met Paul. I like Paul. I wish him well. These are people who are big lads, big hard kids, big hombres you can fight. You know, and doesn't matter how big or how hard you are, or how tough you think you are. You know, you still got that vulnerable aspect of like just a child. Come here. The dog. He's whinging. Can you stop whinging, please? Because I'm trying to do a video and you're crying. I'll let him cry. It's because I've left him in the conservatory with me. Yeah, so this is no joke. This is no joke. Addiction is no joke. If you doesn't matter whether it's wet or dry, whatever makes you high. You know, whether you're out at the weekend snorting Charlie and having a bevy. You know, one thing leads to another. You're spending all your wages that you've earned through the month, and you're skint, and then you're in debt because you owe the drug dealers money. You know, it's a tough life. You know, you can't pay for your kids' clothes and stuff like that, and you know, you're hiding from your missus and the secrets you're keeping, and you know, you're borrowing money from your mates. This is what happens. This is the stuff that happens with addiction. So whether you're on the coke or whether you're on the crack, it doesn't matter. You see kids in town sitting there begging, and I often see them and I think, oh mate, you know, and I sit and talk to some of them and I say, look, there's a way out, you know, there is a way out, you know, and I show them a little bit of a pathway and share a little bit about me, and they all, most of them know who I am anyway, because of, you know, I've lived in that life, that way of life, and I've lived in them circles. But you can talk to someone till you're blue in the face, you know, it won't make any difference sometimes. It's like that saying, isn't it? You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. You know, and that's true. So, you know, all you can do is like share the experience and offer that little bit of hope, and that's what I do, and you know what I see like Danny and Paul have done in the past. So big up to them, you know, and that's what this social media should be about. It should be about sharing and caring and supporting and not hating and pulling people down and calling people out. And there's people who sit there and they blaze the star dog, and you know, they're trying to promote positivity and, you know, and anti-gang culture and knife crime stuff, and it doesn't reflect in your character when you're doing that. It's not attractive, is it really? You know, I'm not hating on these people, by the way. I'm not here to give these guys an hard time. It's not my, it's, you know, it's none of my business what you do. I'm just, you know, just sharing my thoughts, you know, and my opinions. And like I've said, opinions are like assholes. We've all got them. So, you know, we've all got, you know, that choice. And, you know, like comments, you can all comment and say whatever you want. And, you know, whether people respond, it's their choice. I tend to just delete anything negative because I'm quite a sensitive guy. When I say I'm sensitive, I don't mean I'm pressing flowers into books and reading your poems off the veranda. I mean, I'm like, if you say something like nasty, I'll take it personal. I'm not as much as I used to. I've developed a bit more of a tougher skin over the years. But yeah, I do. You know, people say, oh, I'm not arsed, I'm not bothered. But, you know, you are really, aren't you? Come on. You are. It does bother you, you know. So, that kind of stuff, I'll it's toxic, so I'll get rid straight away. I won't respond to people who give me any hate on these channels. I'll never, you know, lower myself down to someone else's level in that way and behave the way they do. It's not my cup of tea. It's not what I do. You know, I don't get involved in the podcast wars, so to speak, and people who kick off on each other and want them 1, 2 fisticuffs, you know, because it makes me laugh. I've seen people defending themselves on YouTube, and you don't need to, because the truth will defend itself. It's only lies that need defending. That's straight. The lies need defending. You don't need to. If there's allegations or accusations made against you, then, you know, just laugh it off and move on. You know, you don't need to bring it into a global drama where it becomes like an episodic war of like soaps, you know, to and fro. And I've seen it. It's petty, it's stupid, you know. But if that's what turns you on, and that's what turns you on, so people love a bit of drama. I do myself, I have done, you know. But what I believe we should be doing now is bringing each other together. You know, there's people out there who were sitting at home, you know, watching this vid or watching like videos on platforms, and you know, who struggle, who are on their own, who've got no friends, who've got no one coming round to see them. You know, and someone once said to me, right, it's true, and it always resonates with me. Someone said to me, Billy, do you know if no one's told you that you're loved today, that I'm telling you? And that's what I'm saying to you. If no one has told you today that you're loved, then I'm telling you you're loved, right? And I mean that. You know, I'm not here to hate on you. You know, we've got a gift of life. We're blessed with a few short decades. I'm not by any means spiritual or in the sense of like I go to church and religious. I find all that stuff quite difficult to comprehend. I'm not that way inclined. I do believe in I don't know whether it's divine intervention or some kind of intervention where there's people that are put in my path who are there to help him and show me the way out and give me a bit of guidance. I believe people are there. And I believe in karma also, years ago when I was buying drugs off these drug dealers, most of the drug dealers that were shaving me up, buzzing off me, and telling me no when I was 50 pence short or whatever, and making me wait for hours and hours. Most of these drug dealers now are on the drugs that they were selling. Get away. Yeah, so karma, isn't it? I started using when I was at a very young age. Very young age. Because heroin was like a silent bomb that landed in Liverpool back in the 80s, and no one even heard it blow up. No one even heard it bang. It was like, it just took people out the game. It took limbs, it took lives, it took sons, mothers, brothers, sisters. It took people to prison. It took kids off mothers. It took a lot from people. I was unfortunate to be in that era, that decade, that year. If it was probably this year, if I was born in some town, I'd probably be the village drunk, because I wanted to use something anyway. I had that addictive personality. It was this day and age, I'd probably be on the Ket or the Spice, I don't know. But I'm just grateful that I'm not the man I used to be. I'm the man I am today, for a loving, caring family, which I never thought was possible. I feel a bit more grounded in myself. I've cultivated the grass under my feet. I'm not thinking it's greener on the other side. I'm not chasing my tail. I'm not financially motivated. No, none of that. I just live and let live, and I enjoy these blogs, and I've enjoyed sharing a little bit about myself. It's been nice, and I thank you all for listening, and once again I really appreciate all your comments. Thank you. Take care.